Ball screens have become one of, if not the most used action at all levels of basketball, which leaves defenses scrambling to figure out the best way to guard them. Ice has become one of the favorites of the best defensive teams, as they look to push the ball away from the heart of the floor and force offenses into uncomfortable shots. It's a strategy built on control, taking away what you want most and daring you to beat them with what's left.
The scoring factory on three. 1, 2, 3, scoring factory.
What's going on, everybody? Coach Kevin with the Scoring Factory here with episode 12 of our breakdown series. Today we're talking about ice ball screen coverage, so let's get right into it. Ice is a ball screen coverage that's typically used in no-middle defenses in order to prevent side ball screens from getting a ball handler towards the middle of the floor. So if you look at this graphic, what you'll see is that as 5 goes to set this ball screen on the side for 1, one's defender is actually going to jump to the top side and prevent 1 from getting over that ball screen towards the middle of the floor. He's funneling 1 towards the sideline and the baseline. As he jumps to the top side, 5's defender is sliding out into that open space to prevent a straight line drive to the hoop. Now, as 1 begins to take that drive, ideally going left in this situation, 5's job is to show and get back to his roller as 1's defender gets back. Sometimes this results in a switch. Ideally, it doesn't have to. This is also really helpful if the ball handler has a weak hand and isn't very good at handling the ball on a certain side of the floor. Ice is one of the pillars of Chris Beard's no-middle defense, which led Texas Tech all the way to a national championship game in 2019. As you'll see in this clip, Ice oftentimes blows up side ball screens entirely and can throw an offense entirely out of rhythm. So, as you can see, the ball is being thrown and the big is going to set this side ball screen in an attempt to get his ball handler going towards the middle of the floor. It's the responsibility of the screener's defender to call ice so that the ball handler's defender knows to jump up the line so that this screen can't get set. So, as we go in slow motion, you'll see the defender jump up the line. Now, the ball handler here is being funneled this way and being kept out of the middle. So he takes a dribble. As he dribbles, the 5's defender shows and then eventually gets back as the roller comes, and the ball handler's defender is getting back and recovering, and that ball screen is entirely blown up and they create no advantage out of it. For a lot of teams that run a true no-middle defense, ice ball screen coverage is not hard to set up because it's almost already preset in the way that they're guarding the ball on the side of the floor anyways. So as you look at this clip, before this screen even comes to be set, we already see this defender jump somewhat up the line in order to prevent the ball handler from going middle. So he doesn't have to move very much as this screen is being set coming here. But it still requires an ice call from the screener's defender. Now, what I want you to pay attention to are our tag defenders on the backside. This coverage requires them to shrink the floor and be close to the middle of the floor. Watch as this play progresses that they never really leave this center line of the floor. As the screen's being set, they end up trying to throw it back to the big, but as soon as the ball is picked up by the ball handler, the big's responsibility is to get back to the screener. They end up getting back, they recover, and now again, the ball screen coverage prevented any advantage from being created. This is another clip that really highlights the importance of the tag defenders in ice coverage. So you see TCU align in a 4 across setup here. They're going to clear out a side and get to an empty side ball screen. As we expect, the defender is going to stay up above the level of the screen, and the big is going to drop back to push the ball towards the sideline and the baseline. But they do that successfully. However, as the ball handler gets downhill, he manages to beat the big. If you were looking at our tag defenders, they were right where they needed to be on this midline. Because the big is beat, it requires this tag defender to step over and stop the ball. As that happens, our other tag defender needs to slide down to prevent this pass and this pass from being made. They do a great job of this, and they end up getting a trap on the block. The ball handler doesn't know what to do and gives it away. Ice coverage can be extremely effective. However, it can also be vulnerable if it's not executed properly. Here are some ways that teams really like to attack this ball screen coverage. So, as this screen is going to be set, we can expect our defender to jump up the line, and he does. But instead of setting the screen where the defender thinks it's going to be set, the big actually flips this screen angle and sets the screen going in a more uphill angle. What this does is it takes the ball handler's defender out of the equation and really turns this from an ice coverage into a drop coverage, which puts this big on an island with a ball handler going downhill. That's a problem because if this ball handler is able to snake this screen, then the no middle defense is compromised. But even if he's not, he now has a downhill head of steam to get to the hoop going this way. This puts a ton of stress on our tag defenders, which opens up this pass if the offense's spacing stays correct. That pass is made, and now even though Texas Tech is going to get a turnover out of this, they're scrambling, they're recovering, because now we have two defenders guarding what is essentially three offensive players. Now, I want to go back to one of our earlier clips to show you potentially a missed opportunity that Northern Kentucky had to maybe expose the Texas Tech ball screen coverage. So, as we see our side ball screen develop, we see our ice coverage, and this pass is not thrown from the ball handler to the rolling big. But if we slow it down, there is a pocket there for that pass to be made. And if that pass is made and the big were to have the ball right here, what you would most likely see is a burn from the corner and a lob. Because if that pass is made and this big doesn't get back, they're essentially playing 2-on-1 on the backside. So that's ice coverage, one of the most effective ways to take away the middle of the floor, disrupt rhythm, and funnel offenses into tough decisions. When executed well, it can completely stall a pick and roll heavy attack. But like any strategy, it's not perfect, and great offenses know how to exploit the gaps. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. Follow us on our social medias at The Scoring Factory, and as always, I will see everybody in the next video.